Okay, let me explain the example in chapter 4, number 4 assignment. So let me change this one a little bit. So I'm gonna use the same information but different data field. So look at this. Okay, create a class named student data, and this student data will contain two fields, and then they will hold student level, whether the student is freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior, and then the gender type. So it may be male or female. And then when you create the student data object, then the default constructor will set these two field values as freshman and male. And then I'm gonna create another constructor that is an overloaded constructor that will require for both fields. So when you create objects, you can either use default constructor or you can set the values for these two, whether the student level or the gender type. And then I will also include get method and set methods so that you can retrieve the values of these two fields for these two fields. All right, so this is the student data. So create a class like this, and then this will have two values. One is this student level. So why don't we use level? So let's make it private string level. So level is either freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior. And then also let's make a private field name that is also string, and then that is male or female, right? So gender. So let's make it gender. So I made this one private, so other objects cannot, from other classes, you cannot directly access these two field names because it's private, protected. All right, then we need a constructor. So the constructor is the same as this student data. So let's make it public. Okay, public student data. This is a default constructor. So when you create an object, then this constructor will be executed, and this constructor will set the value of level. The default level is freshman, right? Freshman, this one. So let's make it freshman, and set the gender type to male. Okay, so that's a default constructor. So whenever you create an object of student data class, then this will be these two will be the value for these two field names. Right, gender, right? Wrong spelling, gender. Okay, and there's another constructor, public student data, and this time we will receive two values. One is the level. So level is a string type. So there are two arguments, and the first argument is string, and then level. The second argument is also string, and I will receive it as gender. Okay, so once you receive these two values, we will set these values to this one. So you can either use level or L, doesn't matter. If you use L, this one is G. So let's use a different value, the different variable names, field names. So level will be L, and the value of gender will be G, like this. Or you can do this way. If you are using gender, now this gender, the argument name is same as the field name. then what you have to do is write this gender, and so this gender should be this value, and this gender should be this value. So for this one, you have to put this dot. So this dot means this gender comes from this, and this indicates the student data class name. So this always represents the current class name. So student data, and then dot means one of the members, and then one of the members is gender. So student data dot gender is this one. So this gender goes here, and this value is stored here, which is this one. So we set two values using two constructors. Okay, and then we need to create get method and send method. So public get and set. For the set method, it does not return anything. So public void, use void, and then set level, and then you're gonna receive the level. So let's make it L, and then so the level, so this level will be L, right? L, and then close. This is how we set. And public void set gender. Gender is a string, so receive it as string, store it in G, and then gender is equal to G. Okay, in this case you don't have to put this because it's not necessary, because gender, in this case gender means this one, because there's no other gender in this student data, so this gender indicates this gender. So this is get method. How about this is send method? How about get? So get means you are returning some value. So we are returning students. So get, for example, I want to get level. Then it will return the level, right? This level. It will return the level, and this level is this is argument. So here return level, and then the return type is string. So instead of using void, it's gotta be string, like this. Also do the same thing for the gender. So gender is a string, so return type is a string, and then get gender, so you can return gender. Make sure you put this semicolon after each statement. Each statement inside this bracket. Alright, so this student data class has constructors, and from these constructors they can set up the values for these two fields, and then also this one provides set method and get method. So since this is public, other class can access this method. Alright, so that is the set and get method. And then from here, can now create an application named test student data that demonstrates each method work correctly. So from this test student data, let's create default object, and let's create object using this constructor by sending these two values, and then let's try set and get as well. Alright, so I'm gonna create a class named test student data. Test student data. Okay, this is an application. So if this is an application, then we have to use this one, public static void main string arg. All right, and then let's okay, so in order to test all those things, the student data, so why don't we create an object? Student data, this is an object, right? And then student data, so student1, it should be new. So new is creating an object of student data, and there's no argument. So no argument means it's going to create student data object using the default constructor. So this object will have the level is freshman, gender is male automatically. So once you print this out, sys.out.println. Okay, so let's check the level. Then you can access. Okay, the object name is student's object name is student1. Okay, student1. So from this object, I want to access get level. So this will return. Now this is uppercase. This will return. Actually, should return what? Freshman, right? Freshman. And then let's print out others. And then the gender. So I'm gonna get the gender information of this student. Okay, so let's try. So the gender is male, automatically is male, default is male, and then the level is freshman. Alright, so the level of the student is freshman, and then gender is male. Okay, good. So let me type another one. Student 1, right? This is student 1 information. Okay. Then this time let's make another student. Okay, let's make it here. Student data std2. This time std2. And then new. I'm gonna create another data, another student data, and this time let's send the value for the second student. So this time junior. Okay, the first argument is for the level, right? Level, because as you see this, the first argument of this constructor is level. The second argument is gender. So this is level, and the second argument is gender. So let's use female. All right. So by sending these two values to student data, then this will create an object, and that object will be stored in std2, student2. All right, so let's try. Let me copy this. So the student number 2, we're gonna change to student 2, and then get the level and the gender. So this time this should be junior and female, right? Junior and female. So let us run this part. So student 1 is unchanged. This is default, and this one is we set the values of these two, right? That is correct. And then why don't we modify this time? So I'm gonna modify junior to senior. So this is how we can modify. So student number 2, student 2 dot set. Modify means you're gonna set the value, right? Set, that is level. Set the level to what? Senior. How about, do you want to set the female as well? Okay, so let's set the gender to this time male. Okay, so we have updated the student to information, and then you can just test whether it has the correct information. So level 2, student 2, so we're gonna get the level, it should be a senior, right? And then get gender, then that should be male after modification. So this will be after setting. After setting student to information. Alright, so up to here is okay. We created student 2 information by sending junior and female, but after that we updated these two values. So junior now became senior, and then gender became male. So this is how we can create an object, and then how to use set method and get method. So your homework will be very similar to this. Okay, I hope this is helpful for doing your homework.